rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Zerlo, would you please conduct the roll call?
Certainly. Mr. Castine.
I'm here.
Mr. Conroy is not present. Mr. Hall.
Here.
Mr. Henry is asked to be excused this evening. Mr. Hughes.
Here.
Mr. Perrier.
Here.
Mr. Potiker.
Here.
Mr. Rosenquist.
Here.
Mr. Timmons.
Here.
Ms. Waldron.
Here.
All legislators have received a copy of the stenographer's minutes of the November 24th, 2020 regular session. If there are no additions, deletions, or corrections, I will entertain a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
So moved.
Chris. Second by Bob. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. I will now recognize those in the audience who wish to share their thoughts and concerns with the legislature. Please raise your hand, and if you wish to be recognized, and state your name and address for the record. In accordance with the rules of order, all speakers will be limited to 5 minutes. Do we have anybody? Yes, sir.
Hello, Jeffrey Parker.
Hey, Jeff, would you come up to the speaker, please? It's all clean. It's all clean.
Good evening. My name's Jeffrey Parker, 4079 State Route 9, Plattsburgh, New York. I'm going to take this time to address the legislature on some budgeting facts for consideration. I know you're going to vote on it tonight. As most of you may recall, my background is 10 years of Air Force flying and 28 years of flying for a major international carrier. Therefore, I feel fully qualified to express my concerns with the Plattsburgh Airport budget. I did attend an airport committee meeting back in February 2018. I was then dismayed to hear that with no firm increases in airline traffic here, a bus loop system was being established to run between the domestic terminal to a customs facility and then to a hotel that had not yet been built. What I thought was a lucrative contract for the Republic parking system coming in and numerous other aggressive expenditures. To me, it sounded like a use it or lose it decision-making process. The 2021 Clinton County budget, as you know, indicates that the airport budget has an increase of $344,000 this year over 2020. A review of the budget indicates that this increase should be taken in light of the general fund actually having to pay $3.2 million total to support 2021 airport operation requirements. For comparison, in 2012 it was only $1.4 million. In 2019, $2.2 million, and in 2020, $2.9 million. Notwithstanding all the buildups and improvements undertaken to provide revenue income, the taxpayer apparently has an increasing cost burden. I believe that this fact is regardless of the coronavirus and loss of Canadian customers here. I can recall that when the county was favoring SkyWest over Pen Air service, that an airport official stated that at the end of the day, this was a business. It was published in the Sun Community, which should be compared with a continuous need to use our general fund tax money to support the local airport. Also note that the passenger terminal expansion, which I believe had an initial county cost of $54.9 million, which was to be paid down by enplanement ticket fees and parking fees, has a 2021 balance due of $33.6 million. This is a continuing drain on monies that could be used for other programs and needs in Clinton County. Perhaps a balance due now could be refinanced with today's more favorable finance rates. The budget is extremely detailed, but many cited items are coded, so a layperson is unable to grasp all details. Perhaps you can add a definitions page that would help those of us interested in knowing exactly how our money is being spent. For example, the cost versus revenue of the air cargo handling facility the General Aviation Federal Inspection Facility, the Passenger Terminal Customs Facility, the Tailwinds Restaurant, the Republic Parking Contract, hangar leases, and other fees and costs. Referencing the Department of Transportation data, the airport is doing fairly well with SkyWest tax-subsidized essential air service and ultra-low-cost niche carriers like Allegiant and Spirit. But we must remember that the Plattsburgh International Airport has to also compete with other area airports for air cargo and passengers. This includes Burlington, Montreal, Albany, Saranac Lake. Additionally, the airport is at the end of a spoke in the airline hub and spoke marketplace. The reality is that about the only viable international carrier that could successfully provide service here would be an ultra-low-cost transatlantic carrier providing service between Paris, France, and Plattsburgh. This could perhaps capture some Montreal area customers as well as give us North Country residents a European gateway. In the alternative, the hubs at Dulles and Fort Lauderdale, for example, are international gateways that we are unable to compete with for the southern foreign destinations. Hopefully these facts given tonight of insight to airline market realities with respect to how our tax monies are being spent in this one area of responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff.
Can we get a copy of that,
Yes, sir.
if you don't mind?
I think I'm at my 5 minutes, but can I just make a quick comment?
I believe you're the only person tonight that wants to speak.
Thank you, sir.
Jeffrey, I'll take that.
Yes, sir. I went through the minutes, and between May of this year to November, I'm the only citizen that's come up and spoken to the legislature. I've seen in the record that Paddock has spoken, and Jones, all relative, Senator Jones, relative to the virus. I write letters to the editor, I come in, it's my own time, and put this stuff together. I want to help the taxpayer. Now, I don't know why nobody else comes in here to speak to you, ladies and gentlemen. I just don't know. They paid me a lot of money to fly a safe airplane. I can pay your taxes. A lot of people can't. But nobody seems to care. That's not in my script. That's here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
Is there anybody else that would like to address us tonight? Okay. We will now go on to the committee reports. Each legislator chairs one of the 10 standing committees. And I will call on the chairperson of each committee, the board by committee, starting with grounds and legislative area.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Building and Grounds Committee, meeting scheduled for Monday, December 14th, was canceled. End of report.
All right. Children and Family Services, Legislator Potter.
Thank you. Children and Family Services Committee has not met since the last regular session. The committee was polled on resolutions number 769 and 770 on today's agenda. End of report.
Economic Development and County Operations, Legislator Rosenquist.
Yes, sir. The Economic Development and County Operations Committee meeting scheduled for Tuesday, December 8th was canceled. The committee was polled on resolutions number 771 through 776, as well as waive rule 13.2 resolution 819, and that's the end of that report.
Okay, and now we'll do the Finance Committee report. The Finance Committee met on Monday, November 30th, to discuss the Clinton County budget and conduct a public hearing on December 9th. There was a slight budget change from the tentative budget. Resolution 757 through 760 will adopt the 2021 county budget. The committee was polled on Resolution 777 on today's agenda, and that is my end.
Mr. Chairman, I'll provide a little more detail on that slight change in my report.
Health, Legislator Waldron.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the Health Committee has not met since our last regular session. Although we do have Mr. Canoza here tonight to provide a brief update. The committee was polled on resolution 778 through 784 on today's agenda. Thank you.
Human Services.
Mr. Canoza.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, John.
That's okay. I know you didn't forget me. That's all right. I'll start with case updates for everybody, as I always do. We had, as of last night, 12 new positive cases confirmed as of 12/15 Tuesday. We're up for a grand total of 769 total lab confirmed cases since March when this all started. We did also have the good news, 19 prior lab confirmed positive cases recovered, so up to 633 total recovered cases. We are sitting right now on 132 active cases at this time. That's very high. The highest we've ever been, I think, is 144 at one time. So we are definitely up there, and it's definitely keeping our isolation and quarantine staff, our contact tracers, extremely busy. Didn't know if you knew this, but on the state website, 70,400 tests have been done on Clinton County residents. So that's closing in on a good portion of our population. So it's a good thing. So case numbers, although we understand right now we're being looked at from the state to determine the future of if we have any cluster zones, yellow, orange, red. Right now, we know our CVPH hospital bed capacity is good, if not very good, and that includes both general beds and ICU beds. But our rolling positive test rate for the 7-day average is at a 3.4% number right now. So, and that's just a bit higher than the 3.0% threshold. That was just lowered by the state. The state's getting tougher on all of us, and they lowered their threshold for that. So we're just exceeding that a little bit. So CVPH numbers, they have 8 positive cases currently. No persons under investigation at this time. 8 ICU beds are in use, not all of them necessarily for COVID. The CVPH testing site at the former CVPH Wellness Facility, New York Road, is doing very well. They're doing 150 to 200 tests per day. SUNY Plattsburgh is currently finishing a round of pool testing for their remaining students and some staff. They have 59 students still at the campus right now in dormitories. And they also have staff working, so they're doing some pool testing for that, and that helps our numbers. More tests is better. Clinton Correctional, docs, they have 39 positive cases in-house at this time. So they are very busy up there, as you can understand. As Mike mentioned, the word came out that visitation for Clinton Correctional and another facility, as I recall, has been ceased temporarily, as I understand.
Those folks, it impacts
Our numbers
because those folks are hospitalized at CVPH
and Albany,
and that's that's what impacts the statistic that the state of New York is looking at.
Correct.
To move people into different colored zones.
Yeah, over the last into last weekend and just before that, I mean, we had in just 2 days we had a total, I believe, of 35 inmates. They became positive right off the bat like that. That definitely impacts our numbers. That was a third of our numbers during that weekend, that 3-day time frame. So that hurts us overall. So we're glad that visitation is temporarily being ceased. It's appropriate at this time. We do have a press conference tomorrow. Dr. Davey from CVES, Dr. Rietzema from CVPH, and myself will be there. 11 o'clock, we're doing it at Emergency Services because our digs over in the health department are currently occupied by our isolation and quarantine team. All of our nurses, staff that are doing INQ, contact tracer, are all in one big room, and they can talk and communicate amongst each other. We were on a CMAC call yesterday, Clinton County Multi-Agency Committee. SUNY did offer help to us. We're always looking for help. Beggars can't be choosy. We're very happy. Having SUNY is a great thing. Not only are we looking to hopefully get 1 or 2 nurses from the health center, from Dr. Camello, who sits on our Board of Health, but Pat Rasco today told me he's thinking of, he will be sending over 2 of his police staff who are trained in contact tracing to help our team. I'm hoping to give a breath of a few days off to some of my core nurses who've been working pretty much nonstop throughout the summer, fall, and into the winter now. So, and to supplement us into the post-holiday time frame when we just know that there's going to be a lot of hugging and kissing out there, and you know, things are going to get a little out of hand. As much as we tell the public, guys, take it easy. You know, just keep your gatherings local and small. We know that's not going to be the case for everybody. So, and then as the semester gets started after February 4th with SUNY, SUNY Police will then we're planning to work with them to have them do all the contact tracing and isolation and quarantine for their SUNY students. You know what a burden, especially their off-campus students were for us. They were having a good time, you know, as I was back in my day. But they definitely added a lot of numbers to our positive cases at that time. So we're blessed to have SUNY Police working with us on that. First vaccinations, as you all know, CVPH received 975 doses yesterday. Those doses are supposedly, everything's very blurry, information is not traveling quickly, are 975 doses for the North Country region. That includes Clinton, Franklin, Essex, Hamilton, St. Lawrence, Jefferson, and Lewis counties. That vaccine that is at CVPH right now, theoretically, it cannot be moved. So the people in those other counties need to come here to get those vaccines. The pharmacies, as some of you probably know, will be providing vaccinations for nursing home staff and residents via the federal government. They're making deals with the federal government to get those parties vaccinated. Okay?
Let me just cut in there. In the contract that we have, the Clinton County Nursing Home is with CVS.
Yes.
And Wendy told me today that CVS will be making 3 visits to the Clinton County Nursing Home by the end of December.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Having more parties in the game, providing and operating those vaccinations is a good thing. The next phase of vaccinations, New York State is not saying very much on the phase vaccinations to be received. The information seems to come out just a little bit every day, a little bit at a time. But according to prior New York State plan, the next phase will include senior citizens, 65 and over, senior congregate living facilities, and first responders, EMT, police, and fire. So that's what we're working with right now. More to come on this, I'm sure, but like I said, probably a day-to-day, week-to-week thing as we learn more. So, and finally, in closing, we're continuing to push. We have a conference call with CBES and our local school superintendents. I'm continuing to push towards them to remain closed until January 10th, 11th, okay, something like that. With the goal to give the extra 10 days for COVID cases to be symptomatic. Where? At home, not in the school. That's my big push with them. So a few of our schools did heed us for the Thanksgiving one, and they are blessed because of that. So that being Oswego Valley and Plattsburgh, which just got done with a few hot cases at that time. They listened and they heard and they felt the pain, and they said, oh, we're going to do it. So we're hoping we can get more schools on board with that theoretical plan to keep your kids home for that little bit of extra time after your Aunt Tilly and Uncle Jack go home from Thanksgiving Day dinner. So that's all I have. Any questions?
Thank you, John. I know, we try to say it, probably don't say it enough, but we as a legislative body, I'm sure they're going to let me speak on their behalf, are extremely proud. And I know you don't want any credit, but what you're doing, we do know what your INQ team and your staff nurses are doing.
Appreciate that.
And from the county legislature, I just think it's important that they know that we're appreciative of what they're doing.
Thank you, Mike. Much appreciated. Thank you, everybody. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
You take care. If I don't see you all, have a good Christmas holiday.
You do the same.
Thanks, John.
Okay, Human Services Summit, Simon Conroy.
Yes, thank you. The Human Services Committee has not met since our last meeting. I have been in touch with Wendy Bishop, our department head there, and well, the good news is that she has been putting into action the warm visitation window shelters that you all approved swiftly, so that's good that that's happening. The bad news is that she's dealing with ongoing stress with COVID at the nursing home. And, but she's doing, I think she's doing well, and we'll hear more on that. The only other thing was some resolutions were pulled, and one thing on there was there's basically various contracts, and I thought it was interesting that Dr. Boulay Jr. is the new dentist providing services at the nursing home. Old business, so I thought that was good. Old local business. Anyway, the last thing is I stopped in the office for the aging to check in on walk-in visitations. I had some constituents that were afraid that they would be stuck out in the cold if they wanted to stop in at the office, and I was reminded that there's a little entrance breezeway as you come in, and the staff at Office for the Aging has been using that so that they can let people in if they have a couple people, and they can wait in that little room, and then they can take care of people in the main office. So that way they can handle 2 or 3 people, walk-ins without appointments, and it allows people to get out of the cold, so that was good. And that's it.
Okay. Personnel, Kim, please.
Yep, so Personnel Committee met on Monday, December 7th, and resolution number 787 through number 800 has been placed on the agenda as a result of the committee recommendation and the report.
Plattsburgh International Airport. Legislator Hall.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Plattsburgh International Airport Committee has not met since last regular session. Next Plattsburgh International Airport Committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Tuesday, December 22nd at 4 p.m.
Public Safety. Legislator Gaston.
The Public Safety Committee met on Monday, December 7th. Andrew Wiley, the District Attorney, discussed the status of the traffic diversion program. Sheriff David Fabro shared a response to concerns brought forth by Danmore Town Supervisor Bill Chase. Resolutions number 801 through 808 have been placed on today's agenda as a result of the committee's recommendation and a report.
Okay, and Transportation. Legislator Hughes.
Transportation Committee meeting scheduled for Monday, December 14th is canceled. Resolutions 809 and 810 have been placed on the agenda as a result of the committee's recommendation.
Do you have a Board of Health from Mark?
No, it pretty much would have been Mr. Director Penoz's
Chamber of Commerce. Legislator request. Order for the Community College. Community Services Board. Legislator Conroy.
Yes, we have not had a meeting, but I have been in touch with Rochelle Gregory, the Community Services Board chair, and things are good there. I did have a little announcement that I wanted to make that's just kind of a personal thing. That's an event that's going on. I don't know if I should do that now or at some other point.
I guess now would work.
Okay. So in the spirit of fall cleanup and the COVID era, we've been doing some cleanup at the farm, and we had this idea to do a COVID benefit for kids, and specifically for to raise money for outdoor or indoor rec during the winter. So basically, we're going to have a little garage sale type thing at the farm. It's going to be this Friday, December 18th from 12 to 6. We're going to be giving away chili and coffee, and there'll be music and such. And the benefit fundraiser part is anybody can bring any old junk bike, old junk toy, old junk skis, whatever. And as long as you bring something, then you enter to win, and you potentially, when the number's picked, somebody's going to win a new bike. So anyway, we're doing this little fall cleanup event at the farm. It's going to be a fundraiser, community event, and it's going to be outdoor. There'll be a fire. It'll be fairly decent. It'll be socially distanced, and encouraging people to wear masks. But basically, it's just an outdoor garage sale. It's also a fundraiser, and it's this Friday from 12 to 6 out at the Conroy Farm.
Okay, very good.
So, Mr. Legislator Conroy, the wonderful report, except for one word, I would, instead of encouraged, I would say you should mandate those folks who want to take part in your event.
Yeah, well, it's based, I mean, it's an outdoor event kind of out in the field and a lawn, so if it's, you know, if people are sick, I would definitely strongly encourage people to wear masks, but the reality is I think it's going to be pretty spread out. It's going to be, you know, not a dense garage sale, it's going to be more of a barnyard garage sale. But yes, good point, Mr. Zerlo, thank you.
Okay, and Cooperative Extension, very happy Mary at Cooperative Extension, knowing that we're doing a 10% cut, not the 20% cut that, you know, we possibly anticipated. So, you know, I think that the budget looks good there, and I think that we're gonna be able to make it through 2021. Discipline review, excuse me, anything for that?
No report.
Grievance?
No report.
Intercounty, Patty?
No report, no meeting in December.
Jury court? LCLG?
No report.
Soil and water, we actually have a meeting tomorrow at 1 o'clock, so no report there.
And that, there is a resolution for a reappointment tonight.
That's a nice agenda for Sandra. Supreme Court Library. Workforce Development Board.
Just on that note, some grant money and some paperwork that was sent to Chairman Henry to ensure that money continues to flow has been signed. So Sylvia is keeping me in the loop on that.
Okay, do staff members have reports? Ms. Keller?
I would like to request an executive session to provide a brief update on a matter of litigation.
Okay. And Mr. Zerlo?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, a couple things. I sent everybody an email today from New York State Association of Counties. We are very disheartened, quite frankly, and that's a good way to put it. That's a euphemism on the fact that the federal government failed to act in a manner in the current stimulus discussions that will result in direct state and local aid to state and local governments, and very disheartening, very discouraging. A ton of outreach and work has been done. At the end of the day, our federal representatives felt as though we should not be included in that package. I continue to receive updates, but we're fairly certain that the $900 billion package that probably will be part of Friday's spending bill will include zero money for state and local aid. As I've communicated to this board on several occasions, what does that mean for us? Number one, it does not help, direct boots on the ground work that we've expended a ton of money, continue to expend a ton of money on, so there's loss of revenue. The sales tax, although better than we originally anticipated through the pandemic, continues to go down, more loss of revenue. The state of New York is receiving nothing. As such, they will continue to fund a portion of their shortfall by withholding funds from county government, another hit. And the third piece is it's going to force us to make decisions long-term that's going to affect other people in the community. So very, very disheartening. There is a nice little webinar. It's about 12 minutes long. On the bottom, it's a link on the bottom of that email. Mark Molinaro, the Dutchess County Executive, and Steve Aquario, NISAC's Executive Director, speak directly to these points. I urge you to take a peek at that. I will say, the New York delegation worked tirelessly to try to get local aid. Not successful. The ways of Washington are somewhat troubling. But you know, we've reached out and we got positive responses from our member of Congress as well as our 2 senators. So, you know, we'll continue to battle. We'll continue to see if there's any pieces in this $900 billion that will flow, that make, you know, fund programs that may benefit us. You know, it went from 7, they split the 2 bills, if you recall. They went from, there was, that state and local money was included in the budget, in the original bill. They split it and had a second bill which was going to include state and local aid, $160 billion, as well as what the Republicans wanted, liability protections. Today it got bumped back up to $900 million, and that's because there's now most likely going to be direct stimulus checks in a similar form to the previous round. So good news for somebody who's eligible to receive a stimulus check, but you know, it's even less likely that there's going to be money available now to state and local. That's my soapbox on that. I urge you to go and listen to that webcast, and you have 12 minutes. Secondly, as I stated to Chairman Timmons, the new budget numbers. You know, the first resolution obviously adopts the Clinton County budget for the year 2021. The levy now stands at $29,771,890. That is $2,195 less than the levy contained in the tentative budget that you folks had the public hearing on. You know, what happened there? You know, obviously the big number was we received final rates from the New York State Insurance Program. We had to fix a couple of errors that happened during the budget process, and a final accounting of where people are moving and what choices they made with respect to health insurance. That being said, the levies lower a little bit, and they're, instead of $600,000 coming from the workers' compensation reserve as a revenue in this budget, there's now $380,000 coming from the workers' compensation reserve. So which will provide us the opportunity to use that reserve in years to come, if hopefully we don't need it, but it's there. So the levy went down, but it also, this latest information provided us a little more cushion for the out years in the workers' compensation reserve. So that's it in a nutshell. I did put on everybody's desk what the county tax rates are within your individual municipalities that will be in the final budget. There are 6 municipalities that changed. Some went up and some went down, only by you know, $1 per thousand. So some went down, some went up, but there were slight changes in the county tax rates, and that was mainly due to changes, not the levy. The levy didn't change it that much, but final assessment values, which results in slightly changed sales tax credits, which results in slightly differences to the county gross tax rate. So I'd be happy to answer any questions now or when we were on the resolution, Chairman.
Questions now?
Just a question on a resolution after the budget is adopting the full equalized rate. Is that what we've done in the past?
That's the discussion, Legislator Cass, that we had at length during our meeting.
And
we have the 2 options.
I just wanted to, have we done that? Is that what
Yes.
we've done in the past years?
Well, let me answer it this way. In past years, everybody was at 100%. As such, it did not matter how the county spread its tax levy out through the communities. In those years that everybody was not at 100%, there was a decision to be had. The decision since I've been here was always to use the equalized rate. such that that is the fairer way to levy the tax if everybody is not at 100%. So the answer to your question is, normally we don't have to make the decision, but in years that we do have to make the decision, this is what's been used.
Any other questions? Okay. Before voting on the resolutions, I want to note that the majority of the resolutions have been thoroughly discussed by the appropriate committees, and the legislature is taking action tonight based in large part on the recommendations of the committees. Mr. Zerlo, will you please read the titles of the resolutions to be acted upon?
Certainly. Resolution 757, adopting the 2021 Clinton County budget. Legislature.
I would like to move this one. Seconded.
Second?
Paul.
Patty.
Patty, I'm sorry, Patty. Okay.
I'd like to second that as well.
Mr. Chairman, you could ask for a
You want
5-4 if that's acceptable.
Okay. All in favor?
Oh, we're gonna need a roll call on that.
Oh, roll call. Okay.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Resolution 758, adopting full value equalized rate for the apportionment of 2021 taxes. Legislature.
I move the motion on that, seconded by, you want to go by the
You do what you want, you're in charge of the show, sir.
legislator Castine? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So,
Resolution 759, authorizing the county treasurer to apply committed landfill fund balance to the general fund treasurer's office.
I will move this one as well, seconded by legislator Potiker. Roll call.
A discussion on that, Chairman. This resolution 759 and the following resolution 760 are the two resolutions required to move money out of these reserve funds as a revenue to the county budget. So we talked about these in finance. Jeffrey,
I think he's looking for this, right? Is this yours?
Yes, that's correct, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
all right, sir, thank you.
For the 2021 budget.
2021, yes. So, I mean, we're required to pass resolutions taking money from those funds.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Spurrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Resolution 760, authorizing the county treasurer to apply retirement contribution reserve funds to the general fund treasurer's office.
Move this motion as well, seconded by legislator Perrier. Discussion. Roll call.
Spurrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Resolution 761, approving change in meeting date of regular session number 24, legislature.
Motion by legislator Hall, seconded by legislator Perrier. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Resolution 762, approving reappointment to the Clinton County Soil and Water Conservation Board, legislature.
Motion by legislator Perrier. I would like to second this. Discussion. I'd just like to say that Sam has been doing a great job. He was on Soil and Water as a liaison when he was on this board, and he's been doing a great job. He knows everything inside and out up there, gets along well with Pete, and I think we're very lucky to have him.
Yep.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Resolution 763, authorizing 2021 contracts with budget-approved contract agencies, legislature.
Motion this, seconded by legislator Rosenquist. Discussion. Roll call.
Spurrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Resolution 764, approving Northern Insurance Agency Incorporated as broker of record for the 2021 property and casualty insurance, legislature.
Motion legislator Hall, seconded legislator Perrier. Discussion. Roll call.
Spurrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Resolution 765, authorizing payment of 2021 membership dues, legislature.
Motion legislator Rosenquist, seconded legislator Castine. Discussion. Roll call.
Spurrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Resolution 766, complying with New York State Controller regulations by establishing standard workday and reporting of retirement credit for elected and appointed officials, legislature.
Motion legislator Rosenquist, seconded the legislator Castine. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Resolution 767, authorizing distribution of mortgage tax for the period April 1, 2020 through September 30, 2020, county clerk.
Moved legislator Rosenquist, seconded legislator Waldron. Discussion.
Mr. Chairman, I know that people ask this question. I just want to point out the amount of money that we are distributing in mortgage tax to the municipalities in which these properties were purchased is, almost $100,000 more than it was in 2019. Good news, property is selling out there, obviously it changes between each town depending on where the sales were, but in total, it went from $575,000 to $650,000 in distribution. So, positive idea.
Anything else? Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Resolution 768, authorizing Flex Tech Program application and participation agreement with the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority, Legislature.
Motion legislator Rosenquist, seconded legislator Perrier. Discussion.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we have been talked to by NYSERDA and an approved company to do an energy audit of Clinton County facilities. They have done some work to get to this point. You are not in any way, shape, or fashion making a decision on engaging that company or doing any capital projects. However, we need to get this resolution in by 12/31 of this year to make ourselves eligible. The application needs to be in to make ourselves eligible for reimbursement for the total cost of engaging the consulting firm. So there was a chance that we get this for nothing and do capital projects that they will prove to us that will save us money. So you're not committing to anything, I want to make that clear, but it does put us in the queue to be reimbursed if we end up moving forward with this program.
Anything else? Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Resolution 769, authorizing the Youth Bureau to file an application for state aid for youth development program allocations and authorizing various contracts. The Youth Bureau.
Motion legislator Potiker, seconded by legislator Hughes. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Resolution 770, amending Resolution 661 dated November 10, 2020, titled Authorizing Various Contracts for the Year 2021 Social Services.
Motion legislator Potiker, seconded legislator Hall. Discussion. Roll call.
Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Resolution 771, authorizing payment of 2021 membership dues, county attorney.
Motion legislator Rosenquist, seconded legislator Castine. Discussion. Roll call.
Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Resolution 772, authorizing payment of 2021 membership dues, county clerk.
Motion legislator Rosenquist, seconded legislator Waldron. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Resolution 773, authorizing fiscal year 2019 cybersecurity grant program application, information technology.
Motion legislator Rosenquist, seconded legislator Potiker. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier? Yes. Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Resolution 774, authorizing contract with Systems Development Group, real property.
Motion legislator Rosenquist, seconded legislator Castine. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Resolution 775, authorizing memoranda of understanding with various project sponsors under local waterfront revitalization program grant planning.
Motion legislator Rosenquist, seconded legislator Waldron. Discussion.
Just to let you know, they're not listed in the resolution, but these projects are happening in the town of Au Sable, town of Black Brook. Town of Peru, Town of Plattsburgh, Town of Saranac, Town of Schuyler Falls, Village of Champlain, and the City of Plattsburgh. So although this is for Clinton and Franklin counties, you will notice that several of these projects are within Clinton County.
Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Resolution 776, authorizing contract with NTS Data Services, Board of Elections.
Motion legislator Rosenquist, seconded legislator Perrier. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Resolution 777, authorizing payment of 2021 membership dues, purchasing.
Motion legislator Hall, seconded legislator Perrier. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Resolution 778, authorizing payment of 2021 membership dues, Health Department.
Motion legislator Waldron, seconded legislator Conroy. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Resolution 779, authorizing contract with Planned Parenthood of North Country Health Department.
Motion legislator Waldron, seconded legislator Hughes. Discussion.
I will be voting no on this.
Okay. Anything else? Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Caston to be recorded in a negative. Resolution carries. Resolution 780, authorizing lead poisoning prevention program grant application and acceptance, Health Department.
Motion legislator Waldron, seconded legislator Rosenquist. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Resolution 781, authorizing contract with Sable Valley Central School Health Department.
Motion legislator Waldron, seconded legislator Conroy. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Resolution 782, authorizing contract with Atlantic Testing Laboratories, Mental Health and Addiction.
Motion legislator Waldron, seconded legislator Hughes. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Resolution 783, authorizing the purchasing agent to solicit requests for proposals for projects for assistance in transition from homelessness funding, mental health and addiction.
Motion legislator Waldron, seconded legislator Rosenquist. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Resolution 784, authorizing the county treasurer to increase petty cash account, mental health and addiction.
Motion legislator Waldron, seconded legislator Conroy. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Resolution 785, authorizing various contracts for the year 2021 nursing home.
Motion legislator Conroy, seconded legislator Castine. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Resolution 786, amending Resolution 743 dated November 24, 2020, titled Authorizing Contract with E.T. Harrison Son, Office for the Aging.
Motion legislator Conroy, seconded legislator Hughes. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Resolution 787, approving backfill of permanent full-time registered professional nurse, Health Department.
Motion legislator Castine, seconded legislator Hall. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Resolution 788, approving backfill of permanent full-time caseworker, social services.
Motion legislator Hall, seconded legislator Rosenquist. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Resolution 789, approving reclassification of permanent full-time senior tax clerk typist position down to a senior account clerk typist position, treasurer, with backfill, treasurer's office.
Motion legislator Hall, seconded legislator Rosenquist. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Resolution 790, approving creation of temporary part-time payroll clerk position, treasurer's office.
Motion legislator Hall, seconded legislator Rosenquist. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Resolution 791, approving creation of permanent full-time health facility controller position, nursing home.
Motion legislator Castine, seconded legislator Conroy, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Resolution 792, approving backfill of permanent full-time account clerk typist, mental health and addiction.
Motion legislator Hall, seconded legislator Waldron, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Resolution 793, approving backfill of a permanent full-time senior account clerk typist position, mental health and addiction.
Motion legislator Rosenquist, seconded legislator Waldron, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Resolution 794, approving temporary backfill of permanent full-time airport firefighter, Plattsburgh International.
Motion legislator Hall, seconded legislator Rosenquist, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Resolution 795, approving temporary backfill of a permanent part-time airport firefighter, Plattsburgh International.
Motion legislator Hall, seconded legislator Castine, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Resolution 796, approving backfill of permanent full-time motor equipment operator 1, highway.
Motion legislator Rosenquist, seconded legislator Hughes, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Resolution 797, approving the creation of a seasonal, temporary, full-time motor equipment operator 4, highway.
Motion legislator Castine, seconded legislator Hughes, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Resolution 798, approving backfill of permanent, full-time registered professional nurse, Sheriff's Department.
Motion legislator Hall, seconded legislator Castine, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
I think you're getting tired on it, Chairman.
I think so.
Resolution 799, approving backfill of permanent, full-time deputy sheriff position, Sheriff's Department.
Motion legislator Rosenquist, seconded legislator Castine, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Resolution 800, approving backfill of permanent, full-time deputy sheriff position, Sheriff's Department.
Motion legislator Hall, seconded legislator Castine, discussion. All in favor? Opposed? So moved.
Resolution 801, awarding bids for inmate clothing, janitorial supplies, and personal care items for the year 2021, Sheriff's Department.
Motion legislator Castine, seconded legislator Hall, discussion.
I just want to make sure that the Public Safety Committee received, I think Kim sent an email out, and Sheriff Alvaro, so I know there was a question, and everybody's comfortable with the answer before we pass the resolution.
As great as it would be, as everything that we needed came from the county, unfortunately, that just can't be the case. Maybe someday. That is all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Resolution 802, authorizing New York State Governor's Traffic Safety Committee Ignition Interlock Device Monitoring Project Grant Application and Acceptance Probation.
Motion legislator Castine, seconded legislator Hughes, discussion. Roll call.
Perrier.
Yes.
Mr. Hall.
Yes.
Resolution 803, authorizing various contracts for the year 2021, probation.
Moved legislator Castine, seconded by legislator Boddicker, discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier.
Yes.
Mr. Hall.
Yes.
Resolution 804, authorizing payment of various 2020 membership dues, district attorney.
Motion legislator Castine, seconded by legislator Hall, discussion.
I just want to make sure that that's supposed to be, are we paying memberships for the current year?
2020, no, for 2020.
It is.
Yes.
It's not very prompt.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Resolution 805, authorizing contract with Jennifer Facto, Rabideau Coroner's Office.
Motion legislator Castine, seconded legislator Hughes, discussion.
Now, this would be the beginning of the first full year of the backup coroner, Ms. Facto Rabideau. I'm here to report that the relationship is working great. And that department department is working extremely well. There is a cost associated with this, depending on when Ms. Facto Rabideau is on, which is only when Chad is unable to perform the duties. But the fact that she's able to do certain things that the coroner is not based on her medical license, having her on board ends up, even with the expense, it saves us over $50,000 on engaging in this contract. So it is a win-win.
Any other discussion on that? Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Resolution 806, approving reappointment of Deputy Fire Coordinator, Emergency Services.
Motion legislator Castine, seconded legislator Potiker. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Resolution 807, approving appointment of Deputy Fire Coordinator, Emergency Services.
Moved legislator Castine, seconded by legislator Hall. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Resolution 808, approving appointments of Deputy Coordination Team Members, Emergency Services.
Moved by legislator Castine, seconded by legislator Hughes. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Resolution 809, authorizing contract with the New York State Industries for the Disabled, Clinton County Public Transit.
Motion legislator Hughes, seconded by legislator Conroy. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Resolution 810, awarding bid to supply and deliver vehicle, fleet, motor oil, and lubricants for the years 2021 and 2022, Highway Department.
Motion legislator Hughes, seconded legislator Potiker. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Resolution 811, authorizing the county treasurer to increase appropriation and corresponding revenue for the Adolescent Tobacco Use Prevention Act grant, Health Department.
Motion legislator Hall, seconded legislator Waldron. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Resolution 812, authorizing the county treasurer to establish appropriation and corresponding revenue for the Lead Poisoning Prevention Program grant, Health Department.
Motion legislator Perrier, seconded legislator Waldron. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Resolution 813, authorizing the county treasurer to establish appropriation and corresponding revenue for the Home Energy Assistance Program, Office for the Aging.
Motion legislator Hall, seconded legislator Conroy. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Resolution 814, authorizing the county treasurer to establish appropriation and corresponding revenue for the Bulletproof Vest Partnership Program, Sheriff's Department.
Motion legislator Perrier, seconded legislator Castine. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Resolution 815, authorizing the county treasurer to decrease appropriation and corresponding revenue for the Police Traffic Services Grant, Sheriff's Department.
Motion legislator Hall, seconded legislator Castine. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Resolution 816, authorizing the county treasurer to decrease appropriation and corresponding revenue for the Child Passenger Safety Grant, Sheriff's Department.
Motion legislator Perrier, seconded legislator Castine. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Resolution 817, authorizing the county treasurer to decrease appropriation and corresponding revenue for the Community-Based Traffic Safety Program Grant, Sheriff's Department.
Motion legislator Hall, seconded legislator Castine. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Resolution 818, authorizing the county treasurer to establish appropriation and corresponding revenue for the 2020 Operation Stone Garden Grant, Sheriff's Department.
Motion legislator Perrier, seconded legislator Castine. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
I'd like to entertain a motion to waive Rule 13.2.
Moved.
Chris, seconded.
Second.
Francis. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Resolution 819, authorizing grant extension with the New York State Department of State Planning.
Motion legislator Rosenquist, seconded legislator Potiker. Discussion.
Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Does anyone else have anything further to come before the legislator? Before, I'd like to entertain a motion to enter into executive discussion.
I will just tell you that we are, next Tuesday, we are in no way expecting an agenda with this large.
That's why we put this on. Anything else? Second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are into executive session. All in favor?
Mr. Rosers?
Mr. Hughes. All in favor? Opposed? And we're out. Motion to adjourn.
I got one thing.
Okay.
This is my last meeting with you all. I'm not here next week, and so I just wanted to not take up too much time, but really just say a sincere thank you to everybody, everybody that I served with. Mark Dane, even Mark Dane, saying thank you to Mark Dane. That's on the record. But yeah, it's just been a real privilege coming home 7 years ago, serving on this legislature for the last 5 years, and you know, really being of service, of the greatest service I can be to my community. So, and a lot of what I've learned moving into the mayor's seat, I've learned here. So I really appreciate everything that you all have done and provided, and I look forward to seeing you in a different capacity. So I'm not going forward to it, but I appreciate it. Thank you.
Good luck, sir.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Motion to adjourn.
Seconded?
Second.
Patty? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?